That's good.
She likes the exercise.
Okay.
You stated the results regarding the Asian students. Now, the Asian family psyche is much different than ours. And the government does help subsidize families who then send their children to this country. Now, when those children come to this country, they're under a particular strain. I have a nephew, who went to a college, it was the University of Rochester, which is a high-tech engineering school. And he was on a small scholarship, but he couldn't keep up with the Asians because they worked 24 hours a day, literally, and he used to have to go and take some kind of pills. So this is what we're up against. And even though you say that education is a state's right, the federal government can, in certain ways, influence the states. So therefore, to solve many of our economic problems that we're exhibiting today, the government has to make some kind of economic process evolve to get more people working. And that is a job, it's a monumental job, and nobody really can put his hand on what to do. I once thought that maybe tariffs on foreign goods might help us, but the thing is that then it would be reciprocated and it would be almost like a washout. So I myself don't really know, but to get the middle class working, which was the keynote of the United States, because I lived in Europe for a while, and there was no middle class. It was either you were very wealthy or you were at the bottom rungs. And they looked forward to the United States because we had this burgeoning middle class, which happened after World War II, and it took many years, and finally it's caught up with us because, like many things, when you're riding high, you never feel that you're going to go down. So this is a job that the government, I guess with the help of private industry, has to devise a system of putting more people to work, not 100 people going to Harvard or that. That in our economic system, it's minuscule. So we have to do more on a broader basis. And
Well, thank you. You sort of paraphrased my talk. So we're in agreement on many of the things you've mentioned. And that is a problem because the government is constrained by political forces from doing what you said. Because if the Democrats, who were probably the people who would propose spending more money for this kind of an effort, went forward with it, they'd be opposed by the Republicans who don't want to spend any money at all on these things. Smaller government, less influence, more individual responsibility, and no major government program to do this. The GI Bill was fought. The Social Security law was fought by the Republicans. The GI Bill was fought by the Republicans. So you could say we wouldn't have a middle class like this if we believed in the old Republican stance that we don't spend any money for any of these public issues. So it is a dilemma, since we do have states who are willing to force the issue and other states who don't want to spend any money. You know, we want a good football team this year, and we're going to pay our coach $10 million to have a good football team, and to hell with the rest of the academic program. That's the mentality of many people in this country, and the government has influence, but not total influence, on changing that philosophy. Yes.
Well, let me take the other side.
Which is that?
The other side from what you just said. Government would benefit our country if they just got out of the way. Government created regulations for businesses that inhibit getting jobs, like the Dodd-Frank, I call it the Dodd-Frank law. And they also, their EPA laws are making it so businesses who create the jobs, who create the middle class, do not have the incentive to hire people and improve. So what they're doing as a selfish thing. They're buying their own stocks, and they're successful, but government is in the way with their environmental and their financial laws. And every time, and when Ronald Reagan got the government out of the way, we had a great economy carried over all the way through Clinton.
Well, so you're saying that all Clinton's positives were all because of Reagan. So
I didn't
you're
say
taking a very extreme political
I said
viewpoint.
one positive was for
Well,
Reagan.
I was wondering
but
when
the-
you were going to put in Clinton, because it wasn't Reagan's administration
No,
that
you're
had all
turning
that, it
around
was
what I
Clinton's
said.
that
I
had the
said
surpluses.
I said the negatives now are what the government did to business. Government doesn't create jobs. They don't create capital. Business does. The Chevrons, the General Motors, they create the jobs and the middle class.
All right, well, yes, that's true, but you just said something which I think is significant. You said the General Motors creates the jobs, but if it wasn't for the Democrats, General Motors would have gone bankrupt, and the Republicans wanted it to go bankrupt. So you're countering your statement, because the government saved General Motors to help create jobs. So I'm not saying that you're not right, and I'm not saying you're not wrong, but you're throwing in both sides of the argument, even in your own argument. The Democrat, first of all, Clinton was successful financially in this, made this country, helped it financially. It was the first time we had a surplus, and you sort of gave Reagan the credit for Clinton's success. And now you're giving a statement that government gets in the way and General Motors makes the jobs, when if it wasn't for the government, the Democratic government, then they would have founded and gone bankrupt, and we wouldn't be able to create jobs in General Motors. So you're saying you're talking both ways.
So you're picking on General Motors.
I'm not picking on
Yeah,
General
well,
Motors.
may
You
I
mentioned
ask,
General Motors.
may I make a statement?
Mention General Motors.
We have, it's a name. It's not. What do you mean? Why would you mention it as a name? It's a truth, but it's a truth.
No, the truth is,
Now we're going to wait a minute. Now we're going to hear the Democratic side.
all right. First of all, we have to use common sense. We need new bridges, we need an infrastructure, and that the government needs a stimulus to create jobs. People that have jobs pay taxes. That will help balance the budget. That would be the best thing for this country if government has a big stimulus. But the Republicans don't want that. They want austerity. People lose jobs with austerity, and we'll have more of a deficit. Right. So the most important thing is for a stimulus to create jobs so all of us can get jobs and go back to work.
What? You all want to go back to work?
And pay taxes.
Wow. She volunteered you to go back to work. Well, we eventually ended up where I didn't want to be in politics, but the fact is, this gentleman proposed something, he said no, she says even more so, so there you see the gamut of what the problem is. It's the fact that politically we're holding ourselves back. And the only sign of positiveness is that I see the Republicans are now sort of coming into the middle stream. Thank you very much for coming. Thank you. And hopefully I'll see you again soon. Thank you very much.